What's up, guys? It's Solo back with another video here on Solo Hoops. Now today I'm going to be breaking down and showing you guys how Giannis Antetokounmpo could steal Joel Embiid's MVP. And the first thing I want to say is he's not the first person that comes to mind when you think of someone stealing Embiid's MVP. Obviously, you got Nikola Jokic, who, by the way, had a crazy game winner last night. Like, we're going to get into last night's basketball games. That was a crazy slate of games. Even though it was only two, they turned out to be really good. You also got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and you got Luka Doncic. So Giannis is kind of that fifth guy, kind of that long shot option, but I feel like he's really not that much of a long shot. But anyways, last night I put out this tweet right before the Bucks Spurs game started. I said we should have a pretty fair and even basketball game here tonight. By putting out this tweet, I was low-key expecting a blowout. I was kind of expecting that I could come back to this tweet and make a joke out of it or something. But you guys can see this screenshot's kind of crazy. Bucks are 24-10 and they're playing the Spurs, who are 5-28. So on paper, it seriously looked like the Bucks were gonna win this game by 30, but it actually turned out to be one of the best games of the entire season. There was a lot of crazy plays, including some of these plays that we're about to get into. Wemby threw a lob off the backboard to himself. So right here, I believe it's Giannis guarding him. He kind of gets by him and then does this awkward I don't even know if Wemby knew what he was doing. I think he kind of figured it out in midair. He just kind of lobbed it off the backboard and then just caught it and dunked it. I don't even know. Maybe he was trying to just do a layup at first, but he changed his mind midair, just threw it off the backboard. I don't know. It's kind of a weird play, but Wemby off the backboard. I feel like that's not the first time he's done that this season. And then fast forwarding to the third quarter, the Bucks are up by 9 and Wemby in transition does a behind the back right here on Damian Lillard and then basically dunks on a Depoy caliber player in Brook Lopez. Obviously, this video is mainly about Giannis. We're about to get into that, but I'm just trying to catch y'all up on what happened in the game last night if you guys missed it. There's a lot of crazy plays. Look at this, 124 to 121. I know it's kind of small, but the Bucks are up by 3 with 32 seconds left. They give the ball to Giannis, kind of a little ISO play on, I think it's Trey Jones, so huge mismatch. He actually calls for the screen. Brook Lopez sets it, and then it's a Giannis on Wemby matchup, 27 seconds. Giannis goes in, tries to body Wemby. Wemby ends up sending his shit. So that was a huge block. The Spurs ran in transition. They had 22 seconds with ball. I think Trey Jones ended up missing a shot, which led to the Bucks winning the game. But overall, this is a crazy back and forth game. I mean, the Bucks kind of led for most of it, but the Wemby Giannis head-to-head matchup was fire. If y'all watch my videos a lot, you know I love to go on this screen right here and it'll show their stats from the last game. Can somebody please tell me why ESPN changed it? Now it's showing his points per game versus Houston in his next game. So, I mean, I just liked how it was set up. I just liked the graphic, but apparently now we don't have that. So we got to look at the game log. Last night, Giannis played 40 minutes, 40 or 48 minutes, 44 points on Wemby and the Spurs with 14 boards and 7 assists with a block and 2 steals thrown in there. He was going off offensively and defensively. And after a performance like this, it kind of sparked my mind. Is it a long shot for Giannis Antetokounmpo to win MVP this year? Obviously, Joel Embiid is the front runner. We're about to get into his stats. He's averaging basically 35 and 12 rebounds, which is absolutely historical. But after Giannis put up a stat line like this, I was thinking, what would it take for Giannis to go on a run and steal that MVP? Because I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility. If you look at the odds, it's plus 1600, which if you guys know anything about betting, that is a long shot. If you put 100, you'd win 1600. That is crazy odds, especially for a guy that's putting up 31 and 11 and a half boards with 6 assists and is on one of the best teams in the East. That's a little crazy to me, at least. If we quickly look at the box score, keep in mind, this is one of the best teams in the East, a title contender going up against one of the worst teams in the league, a team that's going to be in the lottery once again, the 5-29 Spurs. So it's a 4-point game, so it's a win. You see Giannis dropped 44, but if you really break it down and look at this box score, and obviously you don't want to be a box score watcher, I watched the game, but this is the easiest way to look at the stats. Obviously, Lillard and Giannis took all the shots. Giannis had 28, Lillard had 19, and you want them taking pretty much all the shots, but you need a little bit more offensive production from some more people. Middleton has been great. He did get injured, I believe, and left the game. I think he is okay, but you're gonna need that third, even fourth kind of scorer. Beasley gave him 10 points, only took 6 shots though. I'm honestly kind of nitpicking, but you can't rely on Giannis to go for 44 every night. Again, keep in mind, this is against one of the worst teams in the league, and they barely ended up winning the game. So let's talk about what Giannis will have to do if he wants to win the NBA MVP this season. There's a common theme with all of the past MVPs. There's a few outliers, but that is that they are either the 1 or the 2. I'm actually not the 1 or 2 seed, but the 1 or 2 best teams in the entire NBA. There's a few outliers. We had the Russell Westbrook season where he was averaging a triple-double. I think he was like the 10th best team. Then you have the Jokic season from a few years ago. Actually, both Jokic years, I don't think they were a top team, like, you know, record-wise. I think Embiid also was like the 4th best team last year. But other than like those like 3 or 4 seasons, it's always like the best player from the best team. And so if you look at this, the Bucks are 2 games back from the Celtics. The Celtics are the best team in the entire NBA. I don't think that's out of the realm of possible. I mean, I don't think anyone would say that that's like impossible for the Bucks to do. I think the Bucks can pass the Celtics. Will they do it? I don't know. But if the Bucks are the #1 team in the NBA come the end of the season, and especially if they're not just like the #1 team by like a game, but if they're like the #1 team by like 3 or 4 games or more than that, and Giannis is putting up, you know, 32 and 12 with 6 assists, and he's putting up kind of like a depoy like season. I mean, he's not a depoy. He's not even really like a depoy type season, but you know what I'm saying? He's getting blocks, he's getting steals, he's making an impact. I think he could, especially if you factor in the Sixers dropping a little bit, which now we're getting a little crazy. Now we're just getting hypothetical, but I think that is what would have to happen for Giannis to win it. I don't think that's crazy. I think the Sixers are kind of red hot to start the year. Obviously, Embiid just missed a few games, but if Embiid calms down, which he kind of is, he was averaging 35, now he's averaging like 34 point something. The Sixers lose, you know, a little more games. Embiid's stats drop a little. Giannis keeps doing what he's doing, which I think he probably will. I think Giannis could have a shot at winning MVP, and I especially don't think he is that 5th MVP option at a long shot. Like if you look at the odds, like I said before, it goes Embiid, who's the favorite, then it goes Jokic, SGA, Luka, and they're all kind of close, and then it's like a big drop off. Like I think like Luka is like plus 500, plus 450, something like that, and then jumps down to Giannis at plus 1600. I don't think it should be that big of a gap. And of course, the guy that Giannis would have to steal it from is Joel Embiid, who is averaging 34.8 points per game. Absolutely insane. That's probably the highest since, I want to say, James Harden, when he averaged like 36. What was that, like 5 years ago at this point? 6.2 assists per game. And for some reason, they don't have his rebounds up here, but it's up here. It's not on the screen. It's 11.8 rebounds per game. He is 5th in the league in rebounds, 1st in points, and 19th in assists. For a center, especially a center that's never been known for his passing, 19th in the league for assists is kind of crazy for Embiid. And if you compare this to other historical type seasons, there is only one other player to play a full season and get these type of numbers. Points and rebounds is really the only things we have to look at. 30, we could say 34 because it still qualifies, but you know, back when I looked at these stats earlier, it was 35 points per game because that's what he was averaging. He's averaging 11.8 rebounds, but we'll say 11 plus rebounds per game. Put those both together, only Wilt Chamberlain has done that in a season. He did it like 5 or 6 times, something. Wilt was insane, but that's the type of season Joel Embiid is having. So it's going to be very tough for anybody to steal this MVP. Sixers obviously aren't the best team in the league. If we go to the standings, they are, you know, 3rd in the East. What would this put them as? Like 5th in the NBA. But if Embiid is putting up these type of numbers, I don't really think it matters. The type of numbers that, again, only one player in NBA history has ever put up. Embiid's gonna win it if he keeps up this pace. But the question is, will he? If he slows down a little bit, if the Sixers start to lose more games, it's gonna get really interesting because not only Giannis is right on his neck, but you got Jokic right there. And I think the Nuggets are a team that, if we look at the NBA standings, I think they've been kind of like coasting. Like they're 25-11, 3rd in the West, but like I feel like they're not even playing at their full potential. They're only a half game back, which I don't know how they are not ahead of the Thunder, because they are less games back than the Thunder if you look at this. But anyways, I think the Nuggets come the end of the season will be the 1 seed in the West. I think the Timberwolves and Thunder are just exceeding expectations like crazy, and they're gonna, you know, come back to earth. Well, I'm not saying they're a bad team, but I think they're gonna, you know, even out, maybe finish as like 2 or you know somewhere in here, not the 1. I think the Nuggets will end up taking that, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Timberwolves or Thunder kept it. You obviously got SGA, who's having a crazy season offensively and defensively and leading the Thunder to the 2 seed in the West. So he's in the running. And then you have Luka, who's putting up a crazy season for the Mavs. The only thing is that they are not a top team in the West. And will they be? Probably not. And you probably will need that in order to win MVP. So Luka's putting up a crazy season, but will he be able to actually win the MVP? Probably not, because there are 4 other players. You could even count Tatum if you want, but his stats aren't as crazy. But you know what I'm saying? These are guys putting up, you know, arguably just as crazy numbers, and they're on the best teams. So it just kind of sucks for Luka because it's not really his fault, but I just think it's gonna be tough for him to win it. As I said earlier, there was 2 games yesterday. We had Bucks Spurs at like 7:30, and then we had Warriors Nuggets at like 10. It was the night game, 2-game slate. I thought it was gonna be a bad night of basketball because I mean, I just like when there's a ton of games, a ton of stars playing, a ton of fun games. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. I like when there's a big slate of games. This actually turned out to be a really good night of basketball. You had the close game with the Spurs and the Bucks, and then we had this game where it was 127. The Warriors had like an 18-point lead with like 7 minutes, not 7 seconds. 7 seconds would be crazy. But they ended up blowing the lead. Steph created a crucial turnover with like 4 seconds left. So then the Nuggets ran down the court. Jokic hit one of the craziest shots I've ever seen. If you guys didn't see this, look at the shot clock literally expiring. Jokic is pulling up from way beyond the hash, like 3 feet beyond the hash. I don't even know who that is guarding him. Looney, I think that is. And I mean, yeah, one of the craziest shots I've seen, probably the craziest shot of the season in Golden State. The crowd really was just no reaction. They just had no reaction. You can see this guy in the back just absolutely devastated. The Nuggets, obviously the only one celebrating. I've never seen Jokic show this much emotion. Like even when he like won the NBA finals, I've never seen this type of a reaction out of him. So I guess he is, you know, human after all with emotions like this, but nah, that was crazy. And obviously we're talking about Giannis stealing MVP from, you know, Embiid. Jokic is right there. So we obviously got to talk about the season that Jokic is having. He's averaging 26 points per game, 12.2 rebounds per game, and 9.1 assists per game. He's almost averaging a triple-double. If he does average a triple-double, I wonder what that's going to do to the MVP odds, because averaging a triple-double is a crazy like accomplishment. And obviously Embiid's putting up a crazy season, but that would also be an insane season, especially if the Nuggets can take the 1 seed. So this video is more so about Giannis, but the true guy that could really steal it from Embiid is Jokic. He's the guy that's right behind him, second in odds. And if I'm being honest with y'all, I decided that I was gonna make this video about Giannis. You know, I got the thumbnail all ready and stuff like that after the Giannis game against Wemby, when Giannis went for like 44 and 14 boards or whatever he had. I was like, he could really do this. But after Jokic had that type of game, this video probably should have been more about Jokic. In the comments down below, let me know, who do you think has the best shot of winning the MVP outside of Embiid? If you're gonna say Jokic goes up and ends up stealing it, or you know, SGA, Luka, Giannis, who is your pick to steal this thing from Embiid if somebody is gonna steal it? So I hope you guys have it. We're about at 900 subscribers in this channel. I'm uploading daily. Click the video, pop it on your screen right here if you haven't seen it yet.